Look, you guys, happy new year. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Corey. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you all so much if you're returning, especially. But wow, 2024 was a year, you guys. It was something, I guess. It came and went with no news whatsoever, but it was also the birth of this channel, you guys. So even though I uploaded videos to this channel like for years, I just never really was a YouTuber really until I made my first Silksong video, and that's when you guys came along, so thank you. Us, the community, we have been grasping at straws for years now, and whatever we can get a hold of, and especially the last year, and it really felt like we were close to something. And to be honest, after 5 years of waiting, it's always gonna feel like that until Silksong's here. But this video isn't supposed to be negative. It's supposed to be a hope video. So let's get to some hope. Last year, early on, we started getting signs of potential ratings, and they turned out to be ratings that never really required a build of the game to rate. But nonetheless, we got to take it as some sort of sign. I still also wonder about a certain message from Leth when he was replying to Sherma. Sherma said, hey guys, if we do have an ESRB rating right now, which is the rating that requires a real build, that still means that we're 6 months at least away from Silksong. And Leth came out and said that only is required for physical releases, which when I read that, I hear, oh hey, don't worry, you know, that doesn't mean that we gotta wait 6 months. That doesn't mean that. That only means that if we want to do physicals. To me, he kind of shot down the idea of like, oh, you may not have to wait 6 months. And it makes me wonder, was Leth and Team Cherry, were they hoping for a 2024 release at all? Like, when he sent that message, was he kind of expecting it to release in 2024? It does seem like around last summer, Leth started to go quiet more. It may have been the increase in the community trying to find something, you know, like videos like this. He kind of went away from the internet, you know, besides his normal retweets, you know, he kind of stopped tweeting less. Didn't hop in the Discord as much. And I think that there was a chance for a 2024 release. I think that they were hoping for a 2024 release, and I think that might explain why they were so quiet. Why they're so quiet, I don't know. You know, and we do know 2023 was actually a year where they were planning on releasing because of the whole Xbox situation. So in Team Cherry's mind, they kind of had a hidden goal of 2023. So why wouldn't 2024 be a goal in their mind as well? Now, realistically speaking, we know that they wanted it in 2023 and pushed it back. And it obviously has to be, it has to be for one of two reasons, right? One being the game isn't finished. And that's what we all assume, you know, they're still working on it, blah, blah, blah. But I don't like that. I don't like it personally because in 2023, they were close. Why were they so close in 2023? And then they just went back to the drawing board. I don't know if you start adding so much stuff like that. Everyone talks about scope creep and like, you know, I don't know. It's just a dev thing. Like, I don't think, you know, I think they kind of lock in at a certain point and stop adding. So what else could it be? Could it be that they're waiting on something that's part of this plan? You know, even this plan that Leth talks about? Which brings me back to a video I made a while ago about the Switch 2. About the Switch 2 and Silksong, and maybe Silksong potentially being in limbo. Now, we don't know facts or anything, but we know that Hollow Knight sold a lot more copies when it released on the Switch. It was out for a year on Steam, and then once it hits Switch, it sells pretty much the same it sold in a year on Steam in a month. Which, if I'm Team Cherry personally, I recognize that. I would think that the Switch is definitely my target console. Probably the most important one. It also was PS Plus and Game Pass that made Hollow Knight as huge as it was. It's not just the Switch release that adds into the mega success that is Hollow Knight. It's also it going to Game Pass and PS Plus, which, if we think about business, that's them getting a chunk of money from Xbox or from PlayStation, and then they may get like some sort of royalties. I don't know how the game streaming and free downloads work for the company? Do they? I don't know if they get paid like for every individual download. The Switch is what sold more copies, I think. I personally think the Switch probably sold maybe the most copies of Hollow Knight and maybe the most full price copies of Hollow Knight. Now Steam probably sold a lot too, especially with those Steam Fest sales, because I know that that's another huge part of Hollow Knight's success, is it going for sale on Steam and then it spiking in popularity there. But that's still a sale. That's still, potentially, Steam sells stuff really cheap sometimes too. So that could be, where they sell like 3 copies and that's the price of 1. That's something you got to recognize in business, And all that is happening back in 2018, 2019. That's when Hollow Knight is jumping up. That's when Hollow Knight is getting crazy popular. But if we jump forward to 2021, that's when Switch 2 rumors start popping up like crazily. And originally it's supposed to be a Switch Pro. And then they decide to release an OLED instead. And then it turns into the Switch 2, which was supposed to release in 2023, which kind of lines up with Xbox. And it maybe could explain the limbo state that we've been left in for the last year. Now, obviously, Silksong does not need the Switch 2 to release. It doesn't need more powerful hardware, otherwise it wouldn't be coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, So we know that it doesn't need this release. And so I can see how a lot of people would say the Switch 2 idea is dumb, which is what most of you guys told me when I made that video in the first place. But here we are now. No Silksong, and we're seemingly weeks, we're months, maybe weeks away from a Switch 2 reveal. And no Silksong. So, was it that dumb? I don't know. Now, we're probably going to get the Switch 2 before Silksong, and because of how jaded we all are now, it's easy to believe that the Switch 2 will come and go and still will have no sign of Silksong. That wouldn't surprise me necessarily. But let's dig back to Leth and his marketing strategies. He's talked about them publicly many times. We know he doesn't want to release indies in the beginning of the year. It's too busy. It has way too much big marketing dollars to other games going on. So it's just not a good time for him. He wants big marketing moments, not small updates. He doesn't think small updates are that beneficial. He thinks rather have more bigger moments for Silksong. Now, last year I'm making videos trying to find the big moment, whether this next showcase would be the big moment he was talking about. And if you think about any other past marketing push it's had, whether it be the Edge magazine or the Xbox trailer, I don't know if those are the big moments, especially if the trailer said it was going to be out in a year and then it's not. That's not his moment. He still has a moment. And he also said a while back, whenever he said choose your champions wisely, he also stated that no one has guessed it correctly, which implies that there's a plan. It implies that there is something set in stone that he knows about. He's got an idea of how he wants to announce it, how he wants to release it, what this next moment would be. That implies he knows what it is. Now, what could it be? What could it be? Last year, there was lots of moments that could have been it. Lots of showcases that seemingly left people unhappy, that if Silksong would have showed up, it would have been the most monumental moment. So what could be bigger than those? What could be bigger than those? And what's happening this year? A Switch 2 reveal. And the last thing I want to say before I end this video is that the Switch 2 is different. It's the first Nintendo console where they have a huge digital library available day one. Now, Switch 1 had the benefit of, if you were on the console release, which wasn't a lot of games, you were going to sell a lot of copies no matter what. Just because anyone who had the Switch 2 needed games to play. Which leaves the Switch 2 open for this moment for a lot of games. A lot of games probably are seeking to be on the Switch 2 release. Now, what they may not have realized is that there's going to be hundreds of other games on the console now. But if you land in that Nintendo reveal, what could be bigger than that? What could be a bigger moment than that? And what could explain the wait? What could explain the limbo state we've been in? Maybe just them waiting on the Switch 2 and it have being pushed back. Who knows? And maybe it's just a personal thing. Maybe they decided to go back in and work on it while waiting. Who knows? But either way, the Switch 2 reveal is going to be such a moment. And Switch has already basically said that like there's a lot more third party like ready for Switch 2 in their next generation. I think that Nintendo also has to do a big third party push with this reveal. I don't think that they're going to have a lot of games, and I think they have an opportunity to have a lot more third parties on day one. And what a moment that would be if the Switch 2 gets revealed and then it gets this slew of games and Silksong happens to be in it. It'd be insane. Probably not going to happen. But look, we need some hope. What else do we got? February 14th is coming up. That I'm excited for, but it's coming up really close. It's gonna come. It's gonna come quick, and it might not have any news. So who knows? Let's just wait and see. Let's hope for the best. Hope you guys all are having a great start to the year. I wish you guys the best for this year, and I hope to see a lot more of you guys this year. And I hope to upload a lot more and be here on YouTube. And hopefully we're playing Silksong. Hopefully we're playing it this year. I hope you guys have a good one. Sorry for my laggy video. One day I'll have a PC.